Hi guys, so let me tell you guys what just happened to me. So as you can see, I'm doing my deliveries, right? So one of the customers, they moved, so I had to go bring their delivery to a new address. So in this address, they had parking, right? And some of the parking was handicapped. So and the parking was very limited. So I parked in the non-handicapped area, and I know that some of these non-handicapped parking are assigned. So I was like, let me hurry up to go in, because all I gotta do is drop off the deliveries. It ain't like I gotta stay or nothing like that. So I go to the thing, the lady comes out, and me and her talking really quickly, and she's telling me about her situation. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then I see a woman come in, and she's looking for the driver of the car. So I said, oh, we got to end this conversation because I got to go, because the woman's looking for me. And so I go to the car, and the lady is just bitching. She's like, oh, this is a handicap spot, whatever and everything. And I'm like, I'm not parked in a handicap spot. And so I was like, okay, ma'am. I was like, I said, I apologize for parking here. I said, I'm leaving now. I said I was just doing deliveries. So I held up, my tablet to let her know that I was doing deliveries. And the woman that I was delivering to was in the doorway, letting her know, hey, because they live in the same building. So she was like, hey, she was letting her know that, I was there to deliver. So the lady was like, this always happens to me. This is a handicapped parking spot. So I look at the car, and I'm looking how I parked, and I'm like, I'm not parked in a handicapped spot. I said, the spot that I'm in is not handicapped. And she's like, but this is my spot, and I gotta look around for people and all this stuff. And I'm like, ma'am, I said, you didn't have to look for me. I said, I'm right here. I said, so if you would just back out so I can let you in and I can leave, that'd be great. She's like, all these times, so she wants to feel the need to explain everything to me or whatever. And I'm like, I said, I was all like, if you need me to move, if you are so concerned about your parking, move so I can get out the way. I said, because all this talking and stuff is not necessary. I said, I don't want to hear anything, right? Because I didn't. So, because she was fussing and complaining, and I'm like, okay, well, all you gotta do is get in the car and move out the way. I excused myself for parking in your spot, but and it's not handicapped, so I excused myself from parking. But if you would just let me get out of the way, and you can park where you gotta park at, we'll be fine. She proceeds to want to argue, wants to complain, and then she wants to and then I'm like, girl. And then she goes, so I was all like, right, because when she came, I said, oh, here I am. I said, I'm about to move my car. And then she's giving me this stanko look. And then I was all like, I said, I'm on my way. I said, I'm about to move the car. I was like, and you ain't got to look at me like that. And she looked at me, and she said, what? I said, I'm getting out the way. So I told her what I said. Then she said, and what else? She said, I said, and you ain't got to look at me like that. Because she thought I wasn't going to tell her what I said. I said, no, and you ain't got to look at me like that. Then she was like, I don't like the way you talking to me. I was like, the more you talking, the less you're going to be able to park. I said, I can't do anything. I can't get out the spot. So unless you move your car, I'm going to be sitting here. I said, and the longer you talk, the longer we're going to sit here. So then the woman that I've delivered to, she's like, just get in the car, whatever, and everything like that. So the lady proceeds, she goes in her car. She's doing all this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, mind you, she keeps screaming, this is a handicap spot. I got my handicap placard, da, da, da. I said, but this spot that I'm in is not handicapped, so get out of my face, right? She's like, I don't like the way you talking to me. I said, I don't like the way you talking to me, right? So I was all like, let me get in the car, because I'm not going back and forth with this woman, because I'm ready to knock her block off, right? And I don't give a damn about no old lady, no placard, no this, no that, because for somebody who's so handicapped or whatever, you doing a whole lot of yapping and a whole lot of acting like you gonna do something. So you ain't that handicapped, you know what I'm saying? So listen, so I get in the car, she comes and she taking pictures. She trying to take a picture of, the meds and stuff that I got, taking a picture of the car. I got out the car. I was like, oh, hell to no. I was like, you're not going to be doing that. Then the woman came out that I delivered to, the customer came out. She was all like, No, there's no need for doing all this, da da da, boom, boom, boom. Everybody's don't be beeping. Everybody's trying to de-escalate the situation, but the old woman is the only one who's not trying to do that, and then she keeps claiming, oh, I'm handicapped, oh, this, that, and the other, right? So I'm like, whatchamacallit? So then I get in the car and I'm just listening, her and the customers talking. Then another woman came, a passerby, who was watching the whole thing. The woman was watching the whole thing, and then the woman came up and the woman was like, I'm gonna report you to whoever you got report to because you're harassing this woman and you're not letting her go, and I'm watching you, this, that, and the other, and that's not even a handicap spot, and all this stuff. And we was all going, and then everybody was talking all at once. Everybody was talking all at once, yelling all at once, or whatever the case may be. And I would just sit there like, if she just moved, we can de-escalate this whole thing. All I gotta do is leave. I said, I delivered to whoever I needed to deliver to. All I want to do is get in the car and go. I don't need this. I don't care about none of your handicap placard, because this is not even a handicap spot. Her and the other woman's going at it, and then the customer's like, just I was like, girl, if I could go, because if I would have drove up and tried to do back out and just go out, I would have been driving all over there, daggone, how they have the little garden and the flowers and stuff. I didn't want to ruin the flowers and drive all up on the sidewalk with the flower and everything. So I was all like, she gonna have to move. And so finally, the woman was like, so the woman starts to do what she was doing. The woman starts to take a picture of her. The woman starts to record her. The woman starts to tell her stuff. And then once the woman starts to do it, how she's like, oh, you can't do that. Don't you take a picture of me, don't you? She said, oh, but you could take a picture of somebody else. Oh, no, we're going to whatever. And then she was so pissed off because the other woman was starting to do the same thing she did, right? And so I was like, so then I'm in the car, mind you, and this is all happening, and I'm making sure that she doesn't try to take no pictures or video of the prescriptions that I got, you know what I'm saying, because it has the people's phone numbers, names, addresses, and the pharmacy information and stuff. So I'm just like, no, it ain't none of her business. I don't want her to take a picture of this stuff, right? So then after all this, the lady, she still want to sit up there and yap, and so I just goes, get the fuck out the way so I can get out of here. Let me leave. And I went off because I was about to get out and tear stuff up. I mean, I wasn't giving a damn at this moment. Like, now I'm livid because you're holding me up from doing my deliveries. You're doing too much talking instead of moving. You're complaining, and it ain't no need to complain. I ain't got nothing to do with nothing else or whatever else you got going on. Just let me leave. You blocking me in and I was there for a half a damn hour, okay? A whole half an hour because she would not let me out, arguing over what? And I'm not arguing. I'm sitting over there just letting her do whatever. You know what I'm saying? But she arguing with everybody and their mama that come around. And I'm just like, if she would just let me get in my car and go, because that's all she had to do is let me get in the car and go. All this talking and yapping and complaining and all this wasn't even necessary. And but no, she didn't want to do that. So once I yelled at her and cursed her out, she was like, I got you on video. I said, I don't give a damn what you got. I said, I really don't. I said, but just get out the way so I can move. Finally, she gets out the way, she backs out and she moves. And then when she moves out, I'm sorry, I am petty. Yes, I did. I gave her the bird. I did. And I had a few choice words to say as well. I did. I didn't give a damn. Because you got all that mouth to talk, and then just like the woman said, she said, you claim you handicapped and you old and you can't hardly move. You doing a lot of moving around. You doing a lot of back and forth, walking around, doing all this, taking pictures, holding people up. You doing a whole lot for somebody who's handicapped. I said, agreed. I was like, are you kidding me? I was all like, listen. That's why I said, let me go get me a coffee, because I almost got a headache. I said, no, I'm not about to let this woman ruin my damn day. So, yeah. how you doing. But listen, don't let people ruin your day. She ain't ruined my day. I got my Dunkins. I'm gonna continue to do my deliveries, and after that, you know, my son's home from college break, and I'm like, hey, so go spend some time with my son and do what I got to do. But I ain't about to let nobody ruin my day. I don't think so. So you guys have a great Friday. Enjoy your afternoon, because I surely enough will. Gotta have my Dunkins. Got my cappuccino. Why, oh, why do I need cappuccino? But anyways, guys, till next time.